Let's be brutally honest for a moment. The entire world of currency trading and international finance operates on a set of predictable, some would say boring, principles of slow growth, incremental interest rate adjustments, and geopolitical stability. But what if I told you that right now, as we speak, there is a single, specific event unfolding in the government halls of Baghdad that has the undeniable, mathematical potential to shatter every single one of those principles and rewrite the global economic order literally overnight, an event so powerful that it could turn the average, everyday person holding a few $100s worth of a certain foreign currency into a millionaire by the time they finish their morning coffee? This is not a hypothetical question or a scene from a science fiction movie. This is the raw, pulsating, and electrifying reality that is being dissected, analyzed, and broadcast with an intensity that has never been seen before by every major voice and guru on platforms like dinarguru.com on this pivotal date, October 31, 2025, and the absolute cornerstone of this historic moment, the single point upon which the entire future of the Iraqi dinar hinges, is the formal submission, debate, and anticipated ratification of Iraq's new national budget by their parliament, a document that is being universally described not as a simple accounting of revenues and expenditures, but as the final, irrevocable trigger for the long-awaited revaluation of the Iraqi currency. The analysis circulating today is fundamentally different from anything we have heard in the previous years. The gurus are not talking about vague promises or spiritual intuitions. They are presenting a cold, hard, and legally sound argument that this budget, in its very structure and in the specific numerical values assigned to its projects and social programs, is mathematically impossible to execute under the current, outdated program exchange rate for the dinar. Think about the sheer scale of what Iraq is trying to accomplish. We are talking about a nation embarking on a massive, multi-billion-dollar reconstruction of its entire infrastructure, from building entirely new cities, state-of-the-art telecommunications networks, and modern ports to overhauling its electrical grid, water treatment facilities, and public transportation systems, all while funding substantial increases in public sector salaries and expanding its social safety net. The critical question every guru is forcing their audience to ask is this: how can a government possibly pay international contractors like Siemens, General Electric, or Chinese construction firms for these multi-billion-dollar projects if its currency is valued at such an artificially low level that it requires truckloads of physical cash just to settle a single invoice for a power plant? The answer, as the highlights from dinarguru.com vehemently assert, is that it simply cannot, and therefore, the new budget must be written with a new, much higher, and internationally recognized exchange rate already baked into its calculations, making the enactment of this budget the de facto legal mechanism for launching the new dinar value onto the world stage. This is a complete game changer because it moves the conversation from the realm of central bank monetary policy, which can be opaque and influenced by external pressures from the International Monetary Fund, into the realm of sovereign parliamentary law, where the elected representatives of the Iraqi people are voting on a national plan that demands a stronger currency to succeed, thereby creating an unstoppable domestic political momentum for revaluation. The news highlights from today are filled with reports of urgent, closed-door sessions within the Iraqi Finance Committee, where members are allegedly being briefed on the precise fiscal mechanisms that will be activated once the new rate goes live, including the immediate extinguishing of a significant portion of the national debt, which is denominated in dinars, and the sudden creation of colossal fiscal space for the government to operate without needing to print more currency and cause hyperinflation. This isn't just about making investors rich, this is about national survival and economic sovereignty for Iraq, and the gurus are correctly pointing out that the country has run out of road. It has no other viable option left but to reset its currency to a value that reflects its immense oil wealth, its strategic geographic position, and its ambitious vision for the future, a future that officially begins the moment this budget is passed into law. The anticipation is so palpable that you can almost feel it vibrating through the online community, with reports of banking channels in the Gulf states and Southeast Asia being prepared for high-volume transactions and whispers of certain foreign governments quietly repositioning their currency reserves in expectation of a major financial event, all of which points to a single, inescapable conclusion that by tying their most crucial national development plan directly to a new dinar value, the Iraqi government has, for the first time, created a non-negotiable deadline for their own financial transformation, a deadline that is staring us right in the face today. So now that we have established the undeniable fact that the new Iraqi budget is not just a spending plan but the legal key to the revaluation, let's pull back the curtain even further and dive into the most critical, and frankly, the most explosive piece of intelligence that every single guru on dinarguru.com is screaming about today. An element so crucial that its success or failure will directly determine whether you wake up tomorrow to a life of financial freedom or find yourself waiting for another cycle of political promises, and that is the absolute, non-negotiable requirement for the complete and verifiable deletion of the electronic monetary platform known as the dollar auction system, a mechanism that has single-handedly suppressed the dinar's true value for over a decade by creating an artificial, permanent demand for the US dollar within Iraq's economy. The news highlights for October 31, 2025, are laser-focused on this single issue because the gurus have received credible information from their high-level contacts within the Central Bank of Iraq that this system is not just being phased out, but is in the final, terminal stages of being systematically dismantled and deleted from the core banking software, an irreversible technical process that must be 100% complete before any new currency rate can be officially announced to the world. To understand why this is so monumental, you need to grasp what this system actually did. For years, the government of Iraq, through its central bank, was forced to sell US dollars at a heavily subsidized, official rate to Iraqi importers to bring in essential goods like food, medicine, and machinery, a process that bled the country's foreign currency reserves dry and created a massive, structural distortion in the economy where the real value of the dinar was never allowed to be discovered by the open market because demand for the dollar was artificially manufactured by this very system. The gurus are highlighting that the deletion of this platform is the ultimate proof that Iraq is finally ready to stand on its own 2 feet economically, as it signifies that the nation's dependency on the US dollar for basic trade is over, and that the Iraqi dinar itself will now be strong enough to be used directly in international transactions, a level of sovereignty that the country has not enjoyed for generations. The intelligence flowing in suggests that the technical teams working on this deletion are operating on a round-the-clock schedule, with multiple verification checkpoints being signed off by international auditors to ensure that the system cannot be accidentally reinstated or manipulated, and this entire operation is being conducted under the direct supervision of the Prime Minister's office, which has reportedly issued a firm deadline that aligns perfectly with the final reading of the budget in Parliament. This synchronization between a political act, which is the budget's passage, and a technical act, which is the auction's deletion, is what the gurus are calling the perfect storm for revaluation, a convergence of events that leaves zero room for error or delay because once the budget is law and the dollar auction platform is gone, there is literally no other monetary policy tool left for the Central Bank of Iraq to use except to activate the new, market-based exchange rate. Furthermore, the news is filled with reports of a simultaneous and massive public awareness campaign being launched by the Iraqi government, preparing its citizens for the transition by explaining how their salaries, savings, and loans will be seamlessly converted at the new rate, thereby preventing any social panic and ensuring a smooth, orderly process that maintains national stability, which is another clear indicator that we are not looking at a distant future event but at a transition that is already in its final, executable phase. The removal of this dollar auction system also paves the way for the Iraqi dinar to finally meet the prerequisites for being listed on international currency exchanges like Forex, where its value will be determined by global supply and demand, backed by Iraq's immense oil and gas reserves, its growing non-oil sectors, and its strategic trade partnerships with China, India, and the European Union, effectively launching it as a legitimate, tradable global currency for the first time in modern history. This is the moment where the theoretical becomes operational, where years of speculation and analysis finally give way to the cold, hard reality of computer code being erased, fiscal laws being passed, and a nation taking its definitive step back onto the world stage, and the collective analysis from every guru today is that we are witnessing the final hours of this preparatory phase, a countdown that is no longer measured in months or weeks, but in days, and possibly even in hours. Now, with the budget poised for passage and the technical shackles of the dollar auction being shattered, the final and most personal question crashes into the forefront of every investor's mind, a question that transcends the political maneuvering and the technical jargon to strike at the very heart of why we all embarked on this journey years ago, the question of what happens the moment after the revaluation is officially announced and how you, sitting at home, can ensure that you are not just a passive spectator but an active, prepared participant in the single greatest wealth transfer event of our lifetimes, a transition that will demand immediate and decisive action to secure the financial destiny that you have patiently earned. The guru highlights for today are unequivocal in their warning, stating that the 24 to 48-hour window following the official announcement will be a period of absolute chaos, confusion, and overwhelming demand in the global banking system, where those who have a clear, pre-established plan will successfully navigate the process and those who are scrambling for information at the last minute may face unnecessary delays, limited access, and potentially costly mistakes. This is not meant to incite fear, but to inject a vital dose of reality. The entire world will be watching this event, and every major bank, currency exchange, and financial institution will be flooded with calls from people just like you, all trying to understand the exact procedures for exchanging their Iraqi dinar, which is why the most critical action you must take right now, before anything else, is to personally contact the specific branch or dealer where you intend to conduct your Exchange and calmly, discreetly inquire about their protocols for handling a foreign currency revaluation event. Do not ask them if the dinar will revalue, simply ask them what their process would be if a major world currency, like the Vietnamese dong or a similar asset, were to undergo a significant